A mysterious outbreak of pneumonia at an office building in Richmond led authorities to shut that building down today. 1,300 employees who work for the Richmond Social Security office were told to go home until Monday. Then, late this afternoon came word that the one employee who died after falling ill died of Legionnaires' disease. The woman who died was a janitor in the building. 12 employees in all who work there have come down with pneumonia since April. Diane Dwyer is in Richmond right now with a live report on today's confirmation of Legionnaires' disease. Diane.
Elaine, it's been 4 days since an employee here at the Social Security office in Richmond died in her hospital bed. Tonight, health officials fear this building may be the source of the problem. Rosalind Sheffield, a janitor at the Social Security office, was originally hospitalized with pneumonia at Merritt Peralta Hospital in Oakland. But tonight, hospital officials confirmed that Sheffield actually died of Legionnaires' disease. 11 other employees also contracted pneumonia recently. 2 are still hospitalized tonight. Both are now being tested for Legionnaires. It is a disease believed to be caused by bacteria that grows in water and is carried through the air.
It's a ubiquitous organism that's found in many places, primarily in water. It's found in streams, in riverbanks. It's been found in air conditioners, cooling towers, in taps within your home. This organism is just everywhere.
In other words, the water in the ventilation system at the Social Security building in Richmond could be harboring the bacteria and sending it out into the offices. Health investigators are now testing the air and water in the offices to try and determine if that is in fact what's happening. They do know that at least one person who worked here died from Legionnaires' disease, and since April, 11 others have come down with pneumonia, a symptom that is typical of the disease. Union officials representing employees at the building said today they have been complaining about the heating and ventilation system, or HVAC, for years. They say it is outdated, too small, and management is to blame.
They have known ever since this building was built in '74 that the HVAC system never quite worked properly.
Today, many employees were nervous, uneasy about being at work, and officials met all morning trying to decide whether to close the building. By 1:30 this afternoon, the decision was made. All 1,200 workers were sent home and told not to come back to work until at least Monday.
And we don't know if there's a problem, but rather than have them worry about that unnecessarily over the next couple of days, we thought it'd be best for them to go home and let us spend some energy, instead of trying to deal with their concerns, dealing with the building.
The workers were just glad to be out of there, you know, just glad to be out of there, and hope everything's safe enough for when we go back in, it'll be okay to work.
We haven't even been able to do our work, you know, just thinking, are we going to get sick, you know, will we fall out in here, you know, nobody knows.
Federal health officials don't know exactly what the problem is either. They say they will continue to check the building through the weekend. They hope that tests on the samples of air and water they took from the building today will provide some answers.
If we find the organism there, we can then type it. There are 28 different kinds of Legionella organisms. And if Legionella should be the cause of these illnesses and it can be recovered from a patient, we can then see if they're the same type, and that would be fairly good evidence that it might be the cause of the illness.
Now, Roberto also cautioned that a full outbreak of Legionnaires would be extremely unusual. By the way, the symptoms of Legionnaires are usually high fever, nausea, muscle aches, and pneumonia. And officials are urging any employees with those symptoms to contact their doctors. Now it's just a matter of waiting for the results of those tests. Elaine, back to you.
Diane, thanks very much for that live report. The Centers for Disease Control estimates that 25,000 people a year get Legionnaires' disease. It's named for some of its earliest known victims, members of the American Legion. They'd been attending a state convention in a Philadelphia hotel back in July of 1976, and upon returning home, began getting sicker and sicker. 34 people died, most of them Legionnaires who'd spent several days in the hotel. Investigators later determined the source of their illness was the hotel's air conditioning system.